Sean threw harsh words at me inside the house. I will manage your inheritance. If you understand, get lost. His words were cold, freezing my heart. Sean then thrust a signed divorce paper at me. Here, sign this and you can be free, he provocatively said. I quietly received the divorce papers and stared at them. It seemed Sean had expected me to dislike the idea of divorce, as he appeared slightly puzzled by my reaction. Sean, you only married me for my father's wealth, and you are indeed such a person. I was foolish to not see through you, but you are even more foolish, staining the family register for money and waiting for someone to die. I do pity you a little, but there is no sympathy left for someone who has lost their humanity. I will never forgive you, and you will definitely go to hell. My name is Kathy Anderson, and I just turned 42 last week. I met Sean in the last year of my 30s and got married. I loved my job and thought I would stay single forever, but fate led me to marry Sean. It was none other than my father who introduced Sean to me. My father loved drinking and would head to the town to drink every night after work. He dressed stylishly and always insisted on paying in cash. No matter how much he drank, he was never overpowered by alcohol and could keep drinking until morning. Getting drunk is fine, but then you can't appreciate the taste of the liquor, he would say, starting to describe what made the liquor so good. Honestly, I couldn't drink alcohol, so my father's stories sounded like alien language to me. Yet, he always told me, catch a husband who can drink someday. And the man my father caught was Sean. Sean used to visit the bar where my father often went. He was in his late 30s like me, working in sales. By chance, he sat near my father, and they hit it off. After treating Sean to several drinks, my father brought up my name. I once asked Sean what my father had told him. He said, I have a daughter who used to model. She aimed to be an actress and thus missed her chance to marry. She's skilled in cooking and sewing, a true example of a housewife. She's charming like me, so I'd like you to meet her. I honestly thought I was deceived. When Cian said that, I felt so embarrassed at that moment. The modeling he referred to was likely the time I modeled for a supermarket flyer as a child. Plus, claiming I aimed to be an actress was based on my joining the drama club during my school days. Regarding cooking and sewing, I was only average. With my mom's absence, I was doing them just because I had to. My exaggeration was not a lie, my father would say nonchalantly if I protested. That's how my father always was. Despite being an easygoing, genial older man, he was affable and had many friends. As a result of my father and Sean getting along unusually well, we ended up getting married. Sean was kind to both my father and me. He was good at engaging people and fit right into their circles. My father said, he reminds me of myself when I was younger. As frustrating as it was, perhaps that's why I took a liking to Sean. Sean was pleased to have become my father's son-in-law. Having a company president as a father-in-law was one of the attractions, but beyond that, Sean and my father got along incredibly well. To them, my existence was like an extra to my father. Nonetheless, marrying the kind and accommodating Sean was the greatest happiness for me. Looking back, I should have been more cautious about choosing a spouse. Who could have imagined that the marriage my father facilitated would turn into such a hellish ordeal? I never thought my father, who always drove me crazy, would lead me into this kind of marriage. My father fell ill and was hospitalized about a year after Sean and I got married. He had abused his liver from his young days due to his love for alcohol. Both Sean and I urged him to quit drinking, but in the hospital bed, he whispered, "Liquor is the best medicine. Oh, what else do I have to live for?" He complained daily. However, once he was allowed to take walks within the hospital, his natural friendliness shone, and he made many friends among the patients, which was surprising. He seemed to enjoy chatting in the playroom for about half an hour each day. It was a relief to see that my father could find some enjoyment. Before I met Sean, I had countless memories with my father. He was a free-spirited man, and that freedom was why my mother decided to divorce him. However, to me, my father was a precious being. My time with him since childhood was a treasure. My father often took me out to town. On weekends, we played in the park and read books in the library. My father loved books, especially history and adventure novels, which influenced my love for reading, particularly adventure novels. He always told me, dreaming is important. He was also skilled in cooking and taught me various dishes. The curry we made together holds a special place in my memories. I vividly remember how he taught me to choose spices and the tricks of cooking. Those were the happiest times for me, being with my father. Although he was busy with work, he cherished the time spent with me. At night, we would watch TV or play games together. My father was always kind, listening attentively to my stories. When I had troubles at school, he encouraged me. "Kathy, you are a strong girl. You can overcome any difficulty." When my father was hospitalized, my heart felt like it was going to burst. His liver had screamed in pain due to his own negligence. I visited the hospital daily to care for him. He acted cheerfully in the ward to reassure me, but thinking about how much he was suffering made my heart ache. One day, my father said to me, "Kathy, I want you to be happy. Sean is a good man. He will take good care of you." Those words were comforting. My father trusted Sean, and I wanted to believe that too. How was Dad? When I returned from visiting my father, Sean would always ask. Sean was also concerned about my father, so I made sure to tell him in detail about my father's condition. Last week when I visited the hospital, my father was in bed, connected to tubes, and needed to rest. However, this week his condition has improved, and he was allowed to walk around the hospital starting today. I thought Sean would be relieved to hear this, but his reaction was unexpected. "Oh, he can walk now? That's too bad." I doubted my ears. What did he mean by that? His comment seemed to suggest that he was not happy about my father's recovery. I asked, "Too bad?" To which he replied, Well, I meant that I wanted to take care of Dad when he couldn't move. I wanted to be of help to him." Despite his words, my doubts about Sean's intentions continued to grow as the days passed. Several weeks later, my father's condition suddenly worsened, and the doctor told us to prepare for the worst. With a faint voice, while holding my hand amidst his cloudy consciousness, my father said, "Kathy, you can make it on your own. Live strongly." His words deeply imprinted on my heart. After these final words, my father passed away quietly, leaving me with a profound sense of loss. His hospitalization and death brought significant changes to my life, compelling me to reevaluate my own life. This event led me to confront myself and reconsider what true love and trust are. My father's hospitalization turned out to be a turning point in my life, offering me a new perspective. After the funeral, my daily life once again became consumed with work and household chores, but suspicions about Sean constantly swirled in my mind. Following my father's death, Sean's behavior became increasingly colder, and my distrust in his actions intensified. One day, I noticed that Sean was frequently using his smartphone. Despite spending more time at home, he seldom spoke to me, always seeming distracted. Feeling uneasy about his behavior, one night, after Sean had fallen asleep, I quietly took his smartphone. I found numerous messages between him and an unknown woman. The content clearly indicated they were intimately involved and had met several times. As I read through the messages, my heart felt frozen, and I was convinced of Sean's betrayal. The next day, I resolved to confront him. During dinner, I calmly spoke to him. "Sean, I've been concerned about your recent behavior. Are you hiding something?" Sean seemed momentarily surprised but quickly regained his composure and responded with a smile. I'm not hiding anything, Kathy. I'm just tired from work. Unsatisfied with his reply, I pressed further. Really? Then how do you explain this? And showed him his smartphone. Sean's face turned pale momentarily, then quickly shifted to an expression of anger. You went through my phone without permission? That's a violation of my privacy, he yelled. A violation of privacy? Then how do you explain your affair? I countered. With all this evidence, are you still trying to deny it? Sean fell silent for a while but eventually looked at me coldly and said, Enough. I can't do this anymore. Let's get a divorce. And again, I will manage your father's inheritance. If you understand, just disappear. His words were cold, chilling my heart. Sean thrust the already prepared signed divorce papers at me. Here, sign this and you can be free. He provocatively said. I was deeply hurt by his words, but at the same time, I felt a sense of relief. I was convinced that our marriage had already failed, and we should part ways. I understand. I can't endure this any longer. Let's get a divorce. Thus, we resolved to divorce. Not only Sean's affair, but also his targeting of my father's wealth became clear. As issues regarding my father's estate surfaced, I felt the need to seriously deal with Sean. Days later, I headed to the office to meet my father's lawyer to discuss the details of the inheritance. Upon arrival, the lawyer showed me my father's will, which explicitly stated that the estate would go to Sean. Shocked, I could not understand why my father had made such a decision. The lawyer explained that my father had trusted Sean. However, knowing Sean's true nature, I could not accept this decision. Is there anything we can do about this? I can't imagine Sean getting his hands on my father's estate. The lawyer looked troubled and replied. Legally, as long as the will is valid, there's nothing we can do. However, if we can prove any wrongdoing on Sean's part, that might change things. Resolved, I decided to fight to protect my father's estate and prove Sean's wrongdoing. I vowed to do everything possible to prevent my father's estate from falling into Sean's hands. From this moment, my battle began. A confrontation with Sean was inevitable, and I started preparing. Holding on to my father's memories, I faced Sean and took action to reveal the truth. First, I decided to thoroughly investigate Sean's actions. To gather evidence of his affairs and financial misdeeds, I hired a detective. The detective quickly began to uncover Sean's suspicious activities. Sean was involved with multiple women and his financial dealings were unclear. As I continued to investigate through the detective, Sean's true character became increasingly evident. He was not only cheating but had deceived my father and me. He had targeted my father's estate and had strategically planned our marriage. The report from the detective detailed Sean's multiple affairs and his extravagant lifestyle funded by our assets. His affair partners were unaware that he was married, deceived by his sweet words. Sean skillfully lied and used others for his own benefit. As the scandal of his affairs came to light, and with the issue of my father's estate emerging, I came to understand Sean's true nature more profoundly. On the surface, Sean appeared as a kind and dependable husband, but beneath that facade was a cold and calculating individual. Armed with this evidence, I proceeded with legal actions against Sean, striving to prove his fraudulent intentions regarding my father's estate. I decided to confront Sean directly. Calmly, I initiated the conversation. Sean, we need to talk. He looked surprised at my serious demeanor but quickly feigned composure and asked, What about? I handed him the detective's report and said, Take a look at this. Sean began reading the report, and his expression turned increasingly grim. Finally, in an angry tone, he exclaimed, What is the meaning of this? It means exactly what it looks like. It's evidence of your affairs and mismanagement of our assets, all written here. I responded coolly. Sean threw the report aside and confronted me aggressively. Are you trying to corner me like this? I'm not trying to corner you. I just want the truth. I want to know why you betrayed us. I stood firm and met his gaze without flinching. After a moment of silence, Sean smirked coldly. Fine, I'll tell you everything. I married you to get your father's estate. You were just a pawn. I used you for my own desires. His admission was shocking, but it also made his true character clear. Sean had never loved me or my father. He was solely driven by his own interests. Even so, you couldn't completely deceive me. Now, it's my turn to act against you. I spoke resolutely. My father's words always echoed in my heart. Live strongly. Supported by these words, I took on the battle with Sean. On the day of our court confrontation, I presented the evidence confidently and exposed Sean's wrongdoing. The judge acknowledged my claims and ruled to strip Sean of his inheritance rights. At that moment, I felt a profound sense of relief, having protected my father's estate. Through the struggle with Sean, I reaffirmed my own strength and resolve. By safeguarding my father's estate and unveiling Sean's true nature, I was ready to take a new step forward. From now on, I intended to live my life on my own terms. With my father's teachings in my heart, I was ready to face any challenge. My experience with Sean had made me stronger and more resolved to move forward into a new future. After resolving the issues surrounding my father's estate, I decided to embark on a new project. It was to realize a business plan my father had dreamed of during his lifetime. By fulfilling his dream, I believed I could honor his legacy and preserve his name forever. As preparations for the project were finalized, I launched the new business with my father's friends and business partners. Keeping my father's teachings in mind, I committed fully to the endeavor and aimed for success. Despite many challenges, the sense of carrying on my father's legacy and trust supported me. The new business grew successfully, bringing the realization of my father's dream closer. Having protected his estate and carried on his will, I felt a profound sense of gratitude and joy. The confrontation with Sean had allowed me to reaffirm my strength and convictions. My father's estate was not just property to me, it was a source of pride and a mission. And I was determined to continue moving forward to fulfill that mission. After revealing the truth about the inheritance, my heart finally found peace. With the success of the new business, I vowed to live strongly and continue my father's legacy. With his teachings in my heart, I continued to step toward the future. Although I had succeeded in stripping Sean of his inheritance rights and protecting my father's estate, my battle was not over yet. Considering the harm Sean had aimed at my father's estate and his continuous betrayal, I felt it was necessary to seek justice. Along with anger, a strong desire for justice fueled my actions. First, I began gathering information about Sean's workplace. I contacted the upper management of the company where he worked and arranged a meeting to discuss his misconduct. I brought the evidence collected by the detective and presented it to his superiors. Upon learning the facts of Sean's affairs and financial mismanagement, they promised immediate action. A few days later, Sean was called into the office for a meeting with his superiors. Although I was not present, I later learned that he had been fired. Sean's misconduct had come to light, resulting in the loss of his job and his social credibility. Furthermore, I decided to take legal action against Sean. Based on the evidence of his misuse of mine and my father's assets, I resolved to sue him. Together with my lawyer, we prepared the lawsuit and formally filed charges against him. During the trial, Sean's misconduct was detailed, and a severe judgment was passed against him. Sean had to pay a significant amount of compensation, and his financial situation drastically worsened. Our life together slipped from his hands, and he became penniless. I did not harbor any personal desire for revenge against him, but this sanction was necessary to achieve justice. After the trial ended and the punishment for Sean was complete, I was finally able to regain peace of mind. Sean disappeared from my life, forced to start anew, but the cost of his betrayal and misconduct was substantial. Meanwhile, I was preparing to start a new chapter in my life. The project to realize my father's dream was progressing well, and I was dedicating all my efforts toward its success. With my father's teachings in my heart, I was determined to move forward positively. Through the struggle with Sean, I was able to reaffirm my own strength and convictions. By protecting my father's legacy and continuing his will, I was able to advance to a new stage. This experience strengthened my resolve to march powerfully into the future. With my father's teachings in my heart, I was ready to face any difficulties. My experience with Sean made me stronger and more resilient. With the issue of my father's inheritance resolved, I felt profound gratitude and joy. Alongside the success of my new business, I vowed to live strongly and continue my father's legacy. And with my father's teachings in my heart, I continued to walk toward the future. As the anniversary of my father's death approached, I continuously thought about how to utilize the inheritance he left. I was planning a new project to contribute to the community my father loved, a project meant to preserve his name forever. On the eve of my father's anniversary, I stood by his grave and offered words of gratitude. Dad, thank you. With your teachings in my heart, I will live strongly. I vow to realize your dreams and continue to be proud of your name. With these words in my heart, I began to walk toward a new future. By protecting my father's inheritance and carrying out the punishment against Sean, I was able to reaffirm my own strength and convictions. This experience equipped me with the resolve to face any challenges as I moved forward. After settling the score with Sean, I felt relieved and began preparing for a new phase in my life. However, life is not always smooth sailing, and I still faced trials ahead. While launching a new business and striving to realize my father's dream, I was busy every day. The business was progressing well, but several issues arose during the process. Unexpected financial difficulties and disagreements with trusted partners weighed on my mind. In particular, the betrayal of a trusted business partner was a major shock. He had been conducting fraudulent transactions behind my back, embezzling company funds for personal use. When I discovered this, I felt betrayed again, and my spirit nearly broke. However, I remembered my father's teachings and renewed my determination to face any difficulties. Dad told me to live strongly. With those words in my heart, I calmly analyzed the situation and sought ways to solve the problems. First, I conducted a thorough internal audit of the company, fired the partner involved in the misconduct, and took legal action. To regain the company's trust, I showed a transparent management policy to all employees and introduced preventive measures. I also actively communicated with the staff, vowing to overcome the difficulties together. These measures gradually restored the company's trust, and the business began to get back on track. However, I learned a significant lesson from this experience. I realized the importance of building trustworthy relationships and the necessity of always being vigilant. Although starting anew came with many difficulties, each was a trial meant to help me grow. With my father's inheritance and teachings in my heart, I reaffirmed my commitment to live strongly and moved forward towards the success of my new business. Meanwhile, my personal life also began to change significantly. After divorcing Sean, I took time to reevaluate myself and rebuild my life alone. With the support of friends and family, I was able to find new goals and dreams. In this process, I became actively involved in volunteer activities. Contributing to the community helped me build connections with many people and find peace of mind. Using my father's inheritance, I launched an educational support project for local children, helping many pursue their dreams. Through the new business and volunteer activities, I rediscovered the joy of living. By utilizing my father's teachings and inheritance, I was able to bring happiness to many people. Continuing my father's legacy enriched my life and gave me a profound sense of fulfillment. After overcoming the tragedy and starting anew, I vowed to live strongly with my father's teachings in my heart. Regardless of the difficulties ahead, I was determined to forge my future with my own strength. My father's inheritance and teachings guided me, and believing in their power, I took a new step forward. With the success of my new business and the fulfillment of my volunteer activities, I was once again enjoying fulfilling days. However, the shadows of the past were about to reappear. The worst possible scenario awaited. Sean was about to interfere in my life again. One day, while I was working in the office, my secretary rushed in, visibly agitated. "It's urgent. Sean is here at the office, insisting forcefully that he wants to speak with you." At her words, I froze for a moment. The premonition of Sean attempting something again was not good. Sean was waiting in the office lobby, and the moment I saw him, my bad feeling turned into reality. He appeared clearly angry and seemed to be pleading for something. I decided to handle the situation calmly and invited him into the conference room. "Sean, what do you want?" I asked him calmly. Sean slammed his hand on the desk and yelled, "You ruined my life. I've lost my job and my money. It's all your fault. It's the result of your actions. I only exposed your wrongdoing." I replied, maintaining my composure. "I'm not going to end up like this. I'll bring down your company. I still have ways to do it." Sean's eyes filled with madness. His words momentarily frightened me, but I quickly regained my composure. "Whatever you try, I won't yield. I've decided to live strongly, with my father's teachings in my heart." Sean scoffed and said, "Then try it. It'll be interesting to see how far your power goes." Before leaving the meeting room. Afterward, Sean actually began various forms of harassment and legal attacks against my company. He spread false information to my business partners and clients, attempting to damage the company's reputation. As a result, some clients and partners became uneasy and ended their dealings with us. My company suffered a temporary financial hit, and the employees were anxious. However, I was determined not to yield to his attacks. To protect my father's legacy, I took all necessary measures. First, I took legal steps to stop Sean's harassment. With the help of a lawyer, I exposed Sean's misconduct and obtained a restraining order from the court. This prevented him from approaching me or the company. Furthermore, I worked together with my employees to rebuild the company. I demonstrated a transparent management policy to the employees and continued efforts to regain trust. I explained the truth to clients and partners and repaired our relationships with sincerity. Meanwhile, I took time to reflect on myself, supported by friends and family, during this resurgence of conflict with Sean. Although it felt like I had lost everything temporarily, I never gave up. Months later, the effects of Sean's attacks began to subside, and the company's performance started to recover. Our efforts bore fruit, and the business was back on track. The employees united, and overcoming these challenges deepened our bonds. Overcoming this conflict with Sean made me stronger. I reaffirmed the importance of sticking to my beliefs, no matter the difficulties. With my father's teachings in my heart, I was determined to move forward powerfully. The battle with Sean taught me many lessons: the importance of trust, the strength within myself, and the courage to face difficulties. All of these experiences helped me grow and paved the way to a new future. Through the experience of fighting to protect my father's legacy, I learned to trust in my own strength. No matter what challenges lie ahead, I was determined to move forward positively. The conflict with Sean reignited and had a significant impact on my company and personal life, but our battle was not over yet. Sean's final move awaited me, becoming the most challenging trial I had ever faced. One day, I received an urgent call from my lawyer. "Kathy, Sean has filed a new lawsuit. He's trying to frame your company for serious misconduct." I was shocked and anxious at first, but I quickly regained my composure. Sean had launched a lawsuit against my company with fabricated evidence, aiming to bankrupt us. His goal was clear: to corner me completely and fulfill his revenge. I immediately revisited our strategy with my lawyer to respond legally. First, we conducted a thorough investigation to prove that the evidence Sean submitted was false. Fortunately, with the cooperation of reliable staff and partners, we gathered substantial evidence to refute Sean's false claims. Simultaneously, I held a meeting with all company employees to share our response strategy to Sean's attacks. We strengthened our unity and resolved to face this challenge together. Our company united to thwart Sean's conspiracy. The day of the courtroom confrontation arrived. Alongside my lawyer, I stood in court and exposed Sean's false evidence one by one. Our evidence was presented, and Sean's claims began to collapse. Sean could not hide his panic and anger, and his demeanor was evident in the courtroom. Ultimately, the judge fully accepted our arguments and dismissed Sean's lawsuit. His plans crumbled, and he faced legal sanctions. This victory allowed me to protect my father's legacy and the company. However, the toll this battle took on me was immense. Physically and mentally exhausted, I realized I needed time to reassess everything. After concluding the confrontation with Sean, I took a temporary break from work and sought peace in a tranquil place. During my days in nature, I had time to reflect on myself and the experiences I had gone through. With my father's teachings and the lessons learned from battling Sean, I reaffirmed my determination to live strongly. When the day came to return to the company, I expressed my gratitude to the employees and vowed to move forward together towards the future. Our bonds, strengthened through the battle with Sean, prepared the company for a new phase of growth. Having defended my father's legacy and teachings, I reassured myself of my strength and convictions. No matter what challenges lay ahead, I was determined to carve out the future with my own strength. With my father's teachings in my heart, I vowed to continue walking towards the future. After the battle with Sean ended, physically and mentally exhausted, I temporarily stepped away from work to rest in a tranquil place. During this time, I had the opportunity to reflect on myself and the experiences I had been through. Holding on to the lessons I learned from my father's teachings and my confrontations with Sean, I reaffirmed my resolve to live strongly. A few weeks later, having regained my peace of mind, the day came for me to return to the company. The employees warmly welcomed me back. Their support and trust became a great source of strength for me, reigniting my enthusiasm to engage in work again. First, I reassessed the overall vision of the company and began by charting a new vision. Utilizing our past experiences, I decided to plan for the future with the employees to build an even stronger foundation. We united and solidified our resolve to move towards our new goals. My new vision included not only the growth of the company but also contributing to the local community. Embracing the values my father cherished, I launched projects to support the local people. This initiative aimed to transform our company from just a business entity into a vital part of the community. We started with an educational support project for local children. Using my father's legacy, we improved school facilities and provided scholarships, helping many children chase their dreams. We also initiated welfare support for the elderly in the community, starting activities to create a safe and supportive environment for often isolated seniors. These projects, backed by the cooperation of the employees and the support of the community, progressed smoothly. Our company became an influential entity, impacting not only in business success but also in the local community. By practicing my father's teachings, we were able to carve out a new future. Meanwhile, I continued my personal growth efforts. Leveraging the lessons learned from my battles with Sean, I honed skills to live stronger and smarter. I explored new hobbies and interests, cherishing the time to enrich myself. During this period, I met a remarkable person who shared my visions and values and could build the future together. Meeting him brought me great joy and new hope. Time spent with him was a healing for my heart and also energized me for new challenges. We shared our dreams together and vowed to walk into the future together. With my father's teachings and his support, I renewed my determination to face any difficulties. Thus, I began walking towards the future with a new vision. Pursuing company growth, community contribution, and personal happiness allowed me to build a fulfilling life. By continuing to uphold my father's legacy and teachings, I gained true strength and happiness. This became a new door to the future for me. With my father's teachings in my heart, I believed in myself and vowed to advance powerfully into the future. Looking forward to the day my new visions would be realized, I decided to live each day meaningfully. As we deepened our community involvement and developed new visions, I was able to achieve both company growth and personal happiness. My life, having overcome difficulties by adhering to my father's teachings, was moving into a new stage. As our community contribution activities expanded, our company became a symbolic presence in the region. Our education and welfare support projects were successful, garnering agreement and cooperation from many people. The employees felt a greater sense of pride and purpose in their work by experiencing the connection with the community. In the midst of this, our company embarked on a major new project. It was a new business that balanced regional economic development with environmental protection. This project was an embodiment of our visions and values and was set to impact many lives. The day came for the announcement of the new business plan. I presented the new business plans in front of regional leaders, partner companies, and our employees. We are starting a new challenge to build the future of this region together. Our mission is to balance economic development with environmental conservation, creating a region that can be proud of for the next generation. Applause filled the venue at these words. At that moment, I felt the power to forge a new future while preserving my father's teachings and legacy. Our challenge deepened the bonds with the community and was the first step toward creating a shared future. As the project progressed, we faced many challenges. However, through cooperation with our employees and local partners, we solved each issue one by one. Our company continued to grow, and the region transformed into a vibrant place. Personally, I deepened my relationship with my new partner, and we looked forward to building our future together. Our time together brought me peace and joy, and it gave me the strength to face any challenges. We shared our dreams and looked forward to walking towards our next goals together. Eventually, the new business was successful and had a significant impact on the local community. We overcame the complex challenge of balancing economic development with environmental conservation, with many people endorsing and cooperating with our efforts. This success proved that the path we had believed in was correct. With my father's legacy and teachings in my heart, I continue to walk towards the future. No matter what difficulties await, I am determined to believe in myself and move forward positively. And as I look forward to realizing my new visions, I am committed to living each day with care. One day, standing once again by my father's grave, I offered words of gratitude. Dad, by continuing to uphold your teachings, I have come this far. I vow to keep striving without sparing any effort to pass on your legacy to the next generation. With this promise made at my father's grave, I was determined to tackle the next project. Drawing a new vision and creating a future together with the community, I began walking the path of new challenges. My new journey leveraged my past experiences and aimed towards greater goals. My personal life also advanced to a new phase. My relationship with my new partner deepened, and we looked forward to building our future together. We shared our dreams and renewed our determination to walk towards our next goals. One day, I walked along the beach at sunset with my partner. Holding hands, I reflected on my journey so far and spoke of hope for new beginnings. Let's continue to walk together and face any challenges that come our way. He smiled gently and nodded. Of course, Kathy. Building the future with you is my greatest happiness. Moved by his words, I felt a strong bond between us, renewing our determination to face any challenges. This conclusion is the prologue to my new beginning. By continuing to uphold my father's teachings, I brought happiness to many people and built a future walking together with the community. And as I continue down that path, I will keep proving my strength and convictions. With gratitude and hope filling my heart for the new journey, I renewed my determination to walk powerfully into the future with my father's teachings and legacy. And my journey continues. With new challenges and hopes, I keep walking towards the future.